studio. It should be like MTV Cribs. People are dying to see it. Welcome to Playdates. My name is India. I'm the founder of Play, and I'm sitting here with a dear friend of mine and also of the brand, Laxmi Hussain.
Hey!
It has been so long for me to come and visit Laxmi here in her studio. So I'm so grateful to be here. Laxmi, perhaps you can do a little intro into yourself and your work.
Yeah, I'm an artist. I'm London born. I've been an artist full time now, probably for about 5 years, which it still blows my mind. My work focuses on the body and
Your body of work.
My body of work, yeah.
I was like, it all works.
It's true. And it's about line and the journey of the line. It's about my body, the bodies that I want women to feel comfortable in, that aren't seen, and kind of that transformation of life and movement and connection and love. All of those things that impact our bodies. It's always usually in the colour blue.
What was the source of inspiration for exploring the body? Was there a moment in your life where you felt that this is something that you wanted to explore further?
100%. Not to sound vain, but I just didn't see myself anywhere. Also, I didn't see the elements of my body and bodies that our bodies change into. It just felt like I always saw one standard that seems to not alter and kind of pushes us back into these moments. And also didn't feel like I felt the movement of our bodies today. I've always drawn since I was a little kid. I've always been the artist of the family. But moving to the body really happened when I started to have my kids. And I just felt so uncomfortable because that's what society pushes us to feel and says things like, oh, you're going to bounce back and all of that kind of stuff. And you've got all these things like riding around in your head. But what happens if you don't bounce back? And what happens if you don't feel great about yourself? So I wanted to change that narrative for me. I also wanted to share that. Like for me, when things are personal, I find myself being more creative because someone can relate. In a way, it's a validation because you're like, oh, actually, other people feel those things too.
And I'm sure, at different stages of every woman's or man's life, that they get to that point where they're, regardless of shape or size or background, whatever it might be, there's a moment in time that we all reach where we're like, wait, my body isn't the same or doesn't act the same. Like no one prepares you for those moments, but you're like, my body is growing and it's evolving and we're getting that next stage of evolution, so we can all relate to that.
That's also one of the things that drew me to wanting to work with you is the idea of sexiness. I've always had quite, I wouldn't say masculine, maybe more androgynous. I've never wanted to define myself in that way. Everyone's always said I've been a tomboy, but I also want to have those kind of elements of care that make me feel pretty, but not necessarily doing it in the typical girly way.
Right.
And that's just always been me, but I never felt like there was space for that. How do I redefine that? I feel that kind of fits into the element of movement because I love going to the gym. But when you're sweating and you're really working out, but you feel so great, it's one of the most unattractive moments to be in. Right? But many of us are rewriting that and wearing outfits that are stylish even when we're working out. And so I think that also is why my work has such a feminine aspect to it, because it's that element of feeling beautiful and that they're also different, and that's welcome, right?
Well, I think it's different explorations of what femininity and your female expression look like, and it looks different for all of us. You know what I mean? So
I think also having the space for it, to be allowed to have that space.
Yeah. What is it about blue? I never asked you this question actually, so.
Yeah, it's really personal to me. Blue is my mum, and it feels really weird saying late mum because it's just a weird way to phrase it because she's always going to be my mum, right? But my mum died in 2018 and it was kind of on the cusp of me pushing towards this becoming full time, but also me still not knowing whether it was just a dream or just a hobby, basically. I became really obsessed with blue at the time. My studio was kind of halfway between hospital and my job, so it's kind of like the mid stop off point for a bit of a breather and then do some drawing. And at the time I was sharing in a very big studio, but I had a really tiny space, so it really was just my therapy to be able to deal with all of the stuff that was going on. And then when she died, my sister sent me this photo of my mum, and she's just wearing basically denim. And it's also my first core memory. Not the outfit that she was wearing, but the day of that photo. I started to realise that so many of the events in my life with my mum are in blue, and maybe that's a subconscious thing that wanted to keep her, and then it just kind of felt like, now this is
maybe that's like a bit of a communication at the time, you know, if you're going back into these photos and seeing, it's like when you think about a certain number and then you keep seeing it all the time. Sometimes I feel like that's a little bit of a guidance from the spirit worlds. I don't know.
I have now, in my world, revisited a colour that is always deemed as very masculine and made it feminine in my own way. That is really important to me, and that's why it stays. But it also feels like she's still here because she never got to see this. From an immigrant perspective, coming to a country where you literally came to have betterment, this is like the scariest thing for your kid to then go and do, because you're like, I've worked so hard to come away from being so poor and not having enough. Why are you choosing to potentially go into that role, you know?
Right.
I've always maintained that you worked so hard and did so much to show me that even if I want to do something that's really hard, it's actually not possible.
Yeah. Was this in sort of tandem with your mother passing that you chose to jump into this full time?
No, it was kind of having my youngest that really pushed me to do it, because we were in lockdown, and it was a really phenomenal time for many artists, in that you went from being very sort of like a blip in social media to a little bit of a known artist.
Yeah.
And that very much happened for me. Like, it wasn't because I was like trying to work the algorithms or whatever. I was just sharing my work because I was not working.
Yeah. And people had more time to sort of consume that, to actually ask the questions and see how they related to the art, rather than being on the tube and you're passing, you're like, oh, that's beautiful, save, and then you never go back to it, you know?
Exactly. We weren't like rushing around. And people have always followed my work because they've related to what I'm trying to speak about, not because it's just something pretty to put on a wall. And I'm not trying to dismiss other artists that do that, but there is a bit more of a personal hook in the way that I work.
I mean, everything that we do at Play as well, we kind of use movement and find that presence to be able to properly digest and reflect with the art forms that come through. And I think what you're saying about the timeliness of you deciding to jump into the deep end and try something different was at a good time when people were really there to appreciate it. You found that sort of moment of play and you keep exploring it. And how do you think your work has evolved over sort of the past 5 years?
I feel like as I get older, it just deconstructs more and more.
Really?
Yeah.
What way?
I think it's confidence.
Right, yeah.
At the beginning I felt like they had to clearly look like people, and now it's just how my line is expressed through the way that I move. Everything I have to touch, I'm very tactile. I have to draw my drawings. I can't migrate to being on a computer, even though I can do it. It's just I don't have an iPad, for example. Even like I've just done a screen printing course, and normally, because it's easy as well, as soon as they taught me that, you know, I could just draw onto tracing paper and print the drawings, I was like, I'm going to do this. It's like
this?
Yeah.
These are her gorgeous greeting cards.
Those, for example, don't make any sense from a commercial perspective, because I basically drawn the thing, done the printing, and I can never print them again.
Yeah.
Because the nature of the way that I've learned how to screen print, or that I've pushed, means that the drawing just basically gets smudged after I've exposed it. So
I see. So it's constantly living though, rather than,
Yeah.
you know? But I feel like that's a lot of artists feel in general. Like, it's like, it doesn't make commercial sense. No, but it's feeding my soul.
Yeah, and like,
You know?
I mean, I love that. That's the artist that I am.
Yeah.
But everything has to feel like I've touched it.
Are there moments in time where you sort of craft out moments of play that you allow yourself to observe, not think about the outcome, and just see what comes to you?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, having a space like this is a game changer for an artist, because it means you can come here and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
If I'm stuck, it's also just showing up for yourself. and drawing allows me to have an element of movement which do whatever I want, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Me coming in here, I don't know what I need to do, or I'm a bit overwhelmed, or I haven't had my morning coffee. That kind of feeling of I'm not ready, or I don't know where this is going, or I don't have direction for my day. I come in here and I move like that. And it might be 20 minutes, it might be an hour, however long I need to feel right again. Like for some people it's journaling, for some people it's, you know, moving their actual body. But whatever it is that you find takes your mind off of it, that's what I come in here to do.
Yeah. Play is one of those intermediary moments where you're like, my head's not there, I don't want to put pressure on myself to get there. So you almost use it as a bit of like a tool to allow your brain to guide you or to clear and to get into the right space. Sometimes it might not come, but at least calms your nervous system, just gets everything aligned.
Yeah,
so whatever sort of works.
Just a reset.
Yeah.
As an artist, we don't share that enough. We don't share that there are moments where we're turning up and we're not 100%.
Yeah.
You know? We don't produce.
We're humans also.
All the time.
Yeah. What has been your favorite piece to date, do you think?
I think it's probably this.
The egg.
I feel like it was such an achievement. I was chosen again.
Where was it placed?
It was in Canary Wharf.
Yeah.
And this is the actual one.
Yeah.
I had to do another one for the person who bid on the egg, but because this one got vandalised quite a bit.
Oh.
But it means that she can stay here and and I'm gonna make a stand for her because she's warped basically.
Yeah. Poor girl. She's seen the streets of London.
That's such an apt description. Exactly.
Out in the wild. She has no prep for it.
I know, like someone who's come from completely afar.
Yeah. And just gets right in the middle of